Welcome back. My name is Matt, aka Road Jedi 88. I'm getting back into the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I want to work on more of the Conquest Sector 2. Hopefully by this point my characters have had a chance to regenerate, reheal. We do have only a certain amount of days, but more than enough time to work through it. It's middle of the night now where I am, and here in the Texas time zone. PTSD's got me wide awake with insomnia, so I'm gonna make use of that. Get some productive downloads done here as soon as this loads up. I've had a hard time keeping my phone battery charging. Like, I feel the tiredness, but the PTSD won't let me go to sleep. In that sense, I would side with some people who say screw history. But at the same time, sometimes remembering history is what allows us to stay alive. So, Pikachu's. Anyways, alright, so Conquest. I tried getting into Sector 2 the other day, but I didn't have a very good selection of characters to work with. I still have the bounty hunter stuff I need to work on, so I'm gonna, as far as for my journey quest, so I want to try to see if I can get a little bit of bounty hunter success out of the way using a bounty hunter squad through the Conquest. Ironically, I need it for journey quest, and it might help get me moving along through the Conquest. Of course, if we're... Wow, yeah, that knocked up some bounty hunter contracts right there. Nice. That jumped beautifully. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier when I was in the journey guide. Anyways. There's a blue tier or a blue gear data card. I had to take that purple one off because it was actually benefiting my opponents more than me. This purple one, if you ever see it, F-34T training droids, at the start of the battle, all enemies are inflicted with tenacity down until the end of the battle, which can't be dispelled or prevented and are immune to tenacity up. Enemies can't have their health reduced below 1% while enemy leader is present, but can be instantly defeated. So I guess ideally the focus point is you want to get the enemy leader dealt with, because otherwise they will not be reduced below 1%, which means you're not killing them off. I can give it a test run and see if that's a factor I have not tested through, but it kind of is almost getting in the way of just getting your opponents dealt with. I mean, if you can kill off the other squad members that aren't, that are easy to knock out, why would you want them to still be around until you dealt with an enemy leader? I mean, if the enemy leader is easy to deal with, sure. But at the same time, it barely makes any sense. So I'm going to need to keep my focus. Excuse me. Ugh. See, things like that doesn't help when I'm being taunted by other opponent members. I need that taunt to go away so I can put my focus on that, on the leader. He's not exactly going down. And my focus on the wrong person as the leader. Excuse me. Ugh, can't stop sneezing. Texas Panhandle dust. Anyone familiar with both the east side and northwest side of Texas? The allergies are different, but they all affect us. Alright. Yeah. That's why I let that dating card off, because it's not making any difference. So, it's helping the enemies more than me. Ugh, excuse me, I can't stop sneezing. Ugh. So we stand a better chance in this approach. Win 5 battles with 4 lawmen Zucks surviving. They are actually bounty hunters. So, and I needed 1 more. Now, they're not exactly muscled up. So, if I'm going to use them, I want to replace them with my lowest relic amplified bounty hunters, so that my stronger ones can still help make up the difference. But I need them surviving. That was a key word. Now, that last battle, I was able to annihilate the squad pretty quick, and that does not help. So, let's back up. I might stand a better chance here. Those were some stronger Sith. Yeah. You think you're mean and tough. I got meaner. Haha. That should finish that feat. Yep. That takes care of that one. So now I can go back and replace them. Evade at least 25 attacks in battles you won. Attempt to stun enemies 25 times. I feel like that's been kind of simultaneously happening. But it might depend on the type of characters I'm using too. So, bearing that in mind, I still want to get my bounty hunter contract, my journey quest completed. And this is along with Journey Guide, Conquest is another opportunity to work on your Journey quest. Inflict armor shred. That's been another Journey quest feature. Now, it looks like the bounty hunters do provide that. I'm trying to pinpoint which one's providing it the most, but it may not really make much difference. I would imagine it's got to be with an opponent who's wearing armor, though. Because like Aurora Singh, she doesn't wear armor. Boba Fett does. Imbo does. IG-88's nothing but droid. I guess in a sense he's a walking armor, but especially considering his metal alloy is described in the books as tougher alloy than the other IG units. That's one of the other things that makes IG-88 harder to kill. His metal isn't the same type of metal as like IG-11 that everyone got excited about. IG-11 can be shot out, whereas IG-88, I mean, he could take bullets and keep going. You would have to basically nuke or blow up IG-88 to even get anywhere with him. That looks like another quest that involved the rebels. It kind of feels like it's almost in my best interest to take that one on again for the rebel quest. Because that popped up as a quest objective, and it knocked out more than half of it almost instantly. So why wouldn't I want to knock that out? And it still allowed me to get my bounty hunter contracts. In fact, that's 2 in 1. So let's collect on those. Okay, that was an episode quest with the rebels, which is alright. Win 2 squad arena or fleet arena battles. Complete 5 marquee battles. Win 5 battles with Director Krennic in your squad. Simple enough. I could actually do that in the Conquest if I wanted to, even though my Director Krennic is actually relatively weak. But I just need him to survive 5 of them. And it looks like I got a Lightspeed token too just now. Nice. So I need to continue working on the Inflict Armor Shred. I'm probably going up against like certain bounty hunters with Darth Vader. That's probably where that's happening from based on what I'm doing against those types of characters. As far as my offense character or my attack, my squad characters, it probably still makes a difference as to who I'm using. Huh. Oh, heck yeah, let's get Chewbacca up. Why wouldn't we want Chewbacca all grown up? And I need to look into his mods. He's an attacker. They're probably going to want him almost tank ability. If I were to guess, I need to get back into adding mods to my primary account, the characters there, because I did have to go a while farming, and about the same time I was trying to figure out mods for the other account. It's about the same amount of time I've neglected my own account, so at some point I do need to make it up. Okay, anomalous lightspeed token. There's only a small handful of characters that I can put it towards. I don't have Chrysanthemum unlocked, but I have reason for Din Djarin's Mandalorian, as well as Greef Karga Journey Quest, but not currently active just yet, given I'm still working on trying to get Quill rarityed up, and I really wouldn't mind a little boost for Quill, but doesn't look like I'm being offered that. I really don't want to put any relic amplifiers gear up on anyone else, since I'm right at the door of enhancing Darth Vader to the max relic amplifier gear or tier. So I really want to leave my other relic amplified characters alone until I've got my Darth Vader tiered up. because he's right at the line. I just need the currency. So, where am I at with Quill? Let me take a quick look at this. He's taking a minute. I am determined to get him boosted up. Alright. We'll get there. All in good time. When you don't do the pay-to-play approach, it's one baby step at a time. And it's going to happen. Patience is the virtue. So, back to this. Yeah. Okay. I want to change up my squad lineup. Actually, real quick. Was it just... Every so often, the journey quest will adjust to something else. Inflict armor shred 50 times. Feats. Gain foresight 75 times. That's going to be like a character with, like, say, Luke Skywalker or Ben Kenobi. Attempt to inflict tenacity down 25 times. Looks like I've done that 15 out of 25 already by accident. So, the pirates I know is not happening. Not unless I go back to the first sector. Even then, I don't trust it fully there. So, I think what I'm going to do, given what I'm looking at, Jedi. Squad of Jedis seems to be the ideal choice. This is a Bad Batch group. They're all armored. So, I'm hoping, if I'm thinking it right, if I'm looking at it right, it should... looking for all my foresight characters. It should, where the hell is my other Luke? Lost my train of thought. Oh, it's sitting right there. Jeez. Alright, and I lost my train of thought of what I was saying a second ago. So that's 3 characters. Should have foresight. Characteristically, they do. But that doesn't have to mean anything in the game. And the Skywalker family foresight is definitely hereditary, to say the least. Combatively, Anakin is very, impulsive, which is kind of what screws him over whenever he was prophesying Padme's death. He got caught up in the fear of it all, which is understandable, but I also understand Yoda's reasoning. Because, let's face it, death is inevitable for all of us. And we rob ourselves emotionally if we cling to a life that was never ours to begin with and will never be ours to end with. In a world of life where there's so much struggles and tiresome and stress, why would we want to hold someone back from finally crossing a finish line of peace? I agree with Yoda. I mean, as hard as it is, it's not the first thing we think about. We're human. But we should rejoice for those who are now resting, not having to deal with the burdens of the world that we still have to put up with. Anyways, moving on. Foresight. Come on. I might have too much strength going on there. No one might have. My squad might not have had a chance to attempt foresight. All right, so we're in a mid-boss level. Win with a full squad of Galactic Republic Jedis. Well, that takes Luke out of the equation. And Old Ben. Yoda has foresight. I didn't think about that. Characteristically, he has foresight abilities. Not every Jedi has the same force-sensitive abilities. When it comes to, like, say, taming a beast, Anakin Skywalker had it. We see him do it with the Mudhorn, or I think they called it a Reek, or something like that, in Attack of the Clones. I think they had a different name before they converted over to Mudhorn, which sounds more elegant for what it looks. Anakin Solo. In the books of Young Jedi Knight... No, not Anakin Solo. Jason Solo. Jason Solo, in the Young Jedi Knights book series, he had the ability of taming a beast. We saw Grogu do it in the Mandalorian season, or Book of Boba Fett, actually. We saw him do it. We just got a data key, so I just knocked out something. Yeah, it had been that foresight. Telekinetic communication, if you want to call it that, or force communication. Not every Jedi had that ability of doing that. Oh man, we jumped foresight quite a bit, or a little bit there. What did I knock out? Something finished. Oh well. Obi-Wan had the ability. He did it with... You would read about him and Qui-Gon doing it with each other, as well as him and Yoda. Yoda he had that ability. Yoda had a lot of abilities that not every Jedi had the ability to, but then again, he lived 900 years. He was able to train a lot of things. But taming a beast, not every Jedi has that ability. Foresight, not every Jedi has that ability. Palpatine had foresight. And of course, he believed he was actually prophesying truth, but we saw how well that went. I'll go back to old Ben. I want to say it works with him. Mace Windu, I don't think ever had foresight. Never saw him with it. In fact, he had to do a lot more extra digging around than Yoda when it came to trying to identify the dark and light. There was one character, I think, if I remember correctly, he was introduced in the Glove of Darth Vader, which is a story immediately after Return of the Jedi. Luke got introduced to another Jedi figure smaller than Yoda by the name of Icarus. And he had the ability of kind of like appearing and disappearing. which is kind of the same trick Luke attempted with that we saw in Last Jedi. It was essentially kind of that Force stun. He must have learned it from Icarit, would be my guess. Icarit apparently was an old friend of Yoda's, according to the books. I still don't like Last Jedi, the sequel trilogy, because it goes against everything that was preluding to what should have been the sequel trilogy. But it should have been the Yuuzhan Vongs that they were dealing with, not Imperial Remnants. Because immediately after Return of the Jedi, the rebels were dealing with the Imperial Remnants while Leia and Mon Mothma were reorganizing the New Republic. There was a lot of things that Disney producers, I mean, I understood there was a contract signed out, and I realized there might be some things that maybe George Lucas wished was a little different. But at the same time, you got over 30 years, about 2 or 3 generations who follow Star Wars before Disney, and all of a sudden you just like do a whiplash of changes. No, it's not working for a lot of us. And I'm not saying this to get controversial or anything, but something of perspective, you know. Imagine if that was being done to Harry Potter or Transformers even dates before me, but like one of the series that you younger folks have grown up on or have grown up on. Imagine all of a sudden you end up with a story whiplash because of a new production company. That's essentially what my generation of Star Wars has been dealing with, and it's not very subtle. It's not easy to adjust, especially when you invested so much of yourself into it. I'm not saying I'm religious to Star Wars, I'm not. But it did hold a lot of meaning to me growing up, dealing with some personal struggles growing up as a youngster. Getting to a point where I could live okay with myself. Star Wars provided a lot of fulfillment, a lot of meaning, a lot of spiritual encouragement and wisdoms. And it came from the stories. The story and the majority of the Star Wars stories in my generation was in the books. There were movies, there were games, but not near as much. There's a whole freaking library out of the George Lucas era on Star Wars. And it does feel like Disney producers can do a lot of writing, but too illiterate to read a book. And that is kind of frustrating on our part. And the frustration doesn't necessarily, the fan war isn't necessarily against the Disney fans, it's more against the Disney producers. With the Disney fans, from the George Lucas era fans, it's just a matter of frustration from the ignorance. Because we know what we grew up on, whereas the Disney generation, they don't know. And as long as they continue not opening a book from my generation, they're going to continue not knowing. And then they're going to be continue to be confused as to why there's even a fan war in the first place. And the fan war isn't against them. It's against the Disney producers. Anyways, making progress. Continue on with Conquest. I'm going to have to check in on where I'm at with that Foresight deal. Hope I didn't miss it. I don't think I did. But we did get a key card of something. I'm trying to identify which one that was. Well, that answers my question. Still have a little more to do with stunning. Makes me wonder if I should go back to my bounty hunters. Nah, that's a slow process. Alright, let's see what we got. Tenacity is coming way up. 3 of these might not happen. Yeah, the follow my lead and you must learn control. I've yet to complete those in the event. As long as they're not completed in the event, I don't have the data cards to apply. So, they're suggesting about some of the event stuff that I guess follows into this. I'm gonna go back to my bounty hunters and see if that makes any difference. Now, if you notice, up along here, we're filling up a bar. Data capacity, 12 of 12. Eventually you do max out. If you get new data cards, data disks to put in, you will need to replace them into the slot. I need to confirm that. But yeah, keep that in mind when you get new data cards. Weed out the ones that's probably least effective, which will probably be the lower tiered data disks that you'll be replacing for the newer ones as you go along. The purple are going to be the higher quality ones, so those would definitely be more ideal. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and run my dailies since it just reset. Yeah, it's just a matter of time before I get to those. So it looks like I'm going to have to come back later, probably after some refresh, to work on Sector 2 a little bit more. I didn't realize how close I was to being able to relic amplify up Vader, but I found myself with a lot of upgradings to go ahead and tackle. Some of them, there was a little expense too, but in the long run, worth it. Oops, what am I doing? Oh, I know what I was trying to do. Just because I don't always seek out or put out requests, which I think I did this time, but doesn't mean I can't remember to check in on my fellow guildmates. See if anyone's put in a request. That's the thing, when this is international, people from around the world are hopping on. Never know who's gonna show up and who's gonna need some kind of assistance somewhere. I have no new characters I've unlocked to deploy. I know I did unlock a couple new characters over in the last account. When I check back in over there, even though they are level 1, rarity 2, probably, and like just crap position, as I mentioned before, a little something is better than nothing. But I think at the moment I've done about all I can with the Conquest, which is essentially what this video is for. I was hoping I can get a little more crystal so I could get more put in for the energy to be able to spend on finishing the sector. But because I'm literally at the tail end here. But it looks like I'm going to have to come back later, which allows my character to kind of recharge a little. So hit or miss. I'll be back later on. Hopefully I can try to get some sleep between now and then, and whatever energy I finally obtain, hopefully we can finish that Sector 2. Whether we'll be able to get into Sector 3 today, I do not know. Kind of doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comments, questions, suggestions down below, and may the Force be with you. Thank you for following.